Manchester United missed Mateus Fernandes once. He was there at relegated Southampton. West Ham moved first, £38 million plus add-ons. And now 12 months later, Mateus Fernandes has been relegated again. But here is the weird part. His price has gone up. That sounds crazy until you watch the player, because Mateus Fernandes is carrying the ball almost 97 yards per 90. Second in the league for progressive carries. That is not normal. That is not a midfielder hiding in a bad team. That is a midfielder dragging his team up the pitch. And the proof is not just in the data. You saw it against Arsenal, one of the sharpest, most aggressive teams in the league. He won duels. He showed for the ball under pressure. He dealt with runners. He got across to danger before it became clean. That is where some fans get caught out. They see back-to-back relegations and think failure. But smart clubs ask a different question. Who is the player in that team who clearly does not belong there? So maybe Mateus Fernandes is not a relegation warning sign. Maybe he is the cheat code hidden inside a bad team the Premier League should fear, because he does not just carry like an attacker. He defends like a destroyer, over 4 tackles and interceptions per 90. Strong under pressure, aggressive without the ball, dangerous with it. So the real question is not, why would United sign him after back-to-back relegations? The deeper question is, what exactly are United buying here? A safe, sensible midfielder from a relegated team, or a rare £100 million profile hiding inside a £50 to £60 million deal? Before we dive deeper, hit the like button if you enjoy these United breakdowns and drop your take in the comments below. Be honest, is Mateus Fernandes a smart signing, or are United playing it too safe? Mateus Fernandes already has 72 Premier League appearances in the last 2 seasons, 36 for West Ham and 36 for Southampton, and he is still not even 22. And that is why United are back at the table now. This is not some unknown talent who needs 3 years to understand the league. He has already felt the pace, the pressure, the duels, the ugly games, and he has stayed available. No major long-term injury story, no stop-start development, just serious Premier League minutes in his legs. But the real reason the price has gone up is the carrying. That 97 yards per 90 number is not just a nice stat for a graphic, it tells you how he plays. Fernandes does not just receive the ball and pass the problem sideways, he carries the problem forward. When his team is stuck, he gives them territory. When the press comes, he can turn out and drive. When the midfield looks trapped, he can move the whole team 30 yards up the pitch by himself. That is rare. That is why this is not just a relegated player gamble. It is a profile bet. Young, Premier League tried and tested, always available, strong under pressure, and elite at moving the ball up the pitch. And if you want the proof, do not just look at the data. Look at the Arsenal game on the 10th of May 2026, because this was not Mateus Fernandes stat padding against a weak midfield. This was Arsenal, the eventual Premier League champions and one of the most aggressive teams in the league, and he still stood out. He won duels. He reacted inside his own box. He dealt with runners. He got across to Saka before the danger became clean. And when West Ham needed someone to show for the ball under pressure, he did not hide. That is the part United should care about. Not just the tackle, the reaction before the tackle. Not just the pass. The courage to ask for the ball when the press is coming. Not just the carry. The decision to take responsibility when his team are pinned back. But carrying distance only tells you half the story. Because anyone can run with the ball when there is space. The real question is, what happens when the space disappears? That is where Mateus Fernandes becomes interesting. He is completing around 58% of his dribbles in high pressure zones. He receives under pressure, rides contact, turns away from the first man, and suddenly his team are out. That is the difference. Some midfielders pass responsibility, some midfielders panic. Mateus Fernandes takes the pressure and moves through it. And for United, that is massive. Because too many times, when teams press United, the whole midfield starts looking rushed. The ball goes backwards. Bruno Fernandes drops too deep. The centre-backs have no clean option. And the attack dies before it even starts. Mateus Fernandes gives you another way out. Not by forcing the Hollywood pass, but by carrying through the pressure himself. And this is where the profile gets really interesting. Because normally, when you hear about a midfielder who carries the ball this much, you expect a trade-off. Good going forward, but questionable without the ball. Nice in space. Maybe a little soft when the game becomes a fight. But Mateus Fernandes is not that profile. This is the twist. He is averaging around 4.09 tackles and interceptions per 90. That puts him in the top 9% of midfielders in Europe for defensive activity. So he is not just carrying the ball away from pressure, he is winning it first. That is the cheat code. He can jump into the press, win contact, read the second ball, recover possession, then drive the team forward himself. That is why this profile is rare. Some midfielders can defend but do not progress the ball. Some can carry but leave you exposed. Mateus Fernandes gives you both sides of the action. The recovery and the release, the tackle and the carry, the ugly work and the escape route. That matters for United because a high-line team cannot afford passengers in midfield. If the press breaks, the whole system is exposed. So you need midfielders who can cover ground, win duels, and still do something useful after winning the ball. That is where Mateus Fernandes makes sense. And this is why relegation creates such a strange opportunity. Because when a team goes down, everyone gets marked with the same stain, and suddenly even the good players start looking suspicious. That is where smart clubs can find value. They ask, who was still performing while the team was falling apart? That is the difference. Because a bad team can hide a good player. It can make his numbers look less glamorous. It can make his mistakes look louder. It can make people forget that one player was doing the work of 2 or 3. And with Mateus Fernandes, that is the argument. The league table says danger. The profile says opportunity. That is why the price can rise even after relegation. Because clubs are not paying for the badge on his shirt. They are paying for the skill set, ball carrying, press resistance, duels, recoveries, Premier League experience, availability. And when a midfielder has that combination before he even turns 22, the market does not stay quiet for long. So yes, relegation creates doubt, but doubt creates discount, and discount creates the chance for a serious club to move before everyone else admits the player was never the problem. And this is where Mateus Fernandes really starts to make sense for United. Because this midfield rebuild is not about one signing, it is about combinations. Casemiro is gone, and Manuel Ugarte is on his way out. United and Michael Carrick are not just looking for one midfielder, they are looking at a full rebuild of that area. That changes how you look at Mateus Fernandes, because he does not have to be the Kobbie Mainoo partner every single week. He could compete with Kobbie, but he could also play or rotate with him. He could sit next to a more defensive profile like Ederson. Or he could be part of a midfield 3 where United finally have different tools for different games. That is the point. United do not just need names, they need profiles that actually fit together. And Mateus Fernandes gives them one they do not have enough of. That matters. Because squad depth is not just having more players, it is having more answers. One game might need a controller, another might need a ball winner, another might need someone who can break pressure with his legs. That is where Mateus Fernandes becomes valuable. He is not just another midfielder. He is the connector, the player who can win it, carry it, and keep the move alive. But there is a reason this deal still makes some people nervous. Back-to-back relegations are not nothing. The fee is not small. And playing well in a poor team does not automatically mean he walks into Manchester United and runs the midfield. That is the honest part. But the question is not whether Mateus Fernandes is risk-free. He is not. The question is whether the profile is rare enough to take seriously. And it is. Because this is not just a young midfielder with potential. This is a player with 72 Premier League appearances before turning 22. A player who carries the ball at an elite level. A player who can escape pressure. A player who gives you over 4 tackles and interceptions per 90. A player who has stayed available and kept developing even while the teams around him struggled. That is why the relegation label cannot be the full story. But Mateus Fernandes still looked like one of the players who belonged higher. And if United are rebuilding the midfield properly, this is exactly the kind of bet that makes sense. Not because he solves everything alone, but because he gives the squad something rare: carrying, press resistance, defensive work, Premier League experience, and flexibility. So the risk is real, but the profile is real too. And if United get this right, Mateus Fernandes will not look like a player from a relegated team. He will look like the player everyone should have taken before the table fooled them.